Hey everybody, how you doing today? I hope you're all having a great Friday so far and a good week. So let's fix this slightly. Okay. So yeah, I decided to stream on Friday this week just to try it out. We'll see just how it turns out, and maybe I'll stream Tuesday, Friday, or Tuesday, Thursday. I haven't decided yet. But okay, let's just get right into it, I think. So we're still going to be working on the lobby today. Let me see where I left off. I'm pretty sure I was working on the maps and the AI, but I don't think I have actually... Okay, so I have this test AI, but then there's a bug. So there's a null reference somewhere in the AI script manager when you try to select this other AI from a mod. Also, I think that the name should probably include the mod. So we'll fix that. Okay, so one of these is null. Okay, well that makes sense because the mod, because if there's no mod here, then it would be null at the beginning. Okay. Yeah, so that is a little annoying to have to deal with, but okay, so display name. Okay, so we want to have the mod's display name if we can. Yes, we already have the mod ID as part of the unloaded error, so I guess we'll do something similar. Okay, so we'll use the mod display name and then script display name. And I guess we'll just, I don't know. It doesn't really matter. For now, we'll just do something like, or I don't know, from. Oh, I don't know. We could even do something like that. It doesn't really make much difference. Oh yeah, and I didn't actually fix this null error yet. So what I have to do here is... Okay, yeah, so basically if any of these are null and this is not null, then we'd want to fire the queue, so... I think the easiest way to do that will just have a helper function, so... let's see... So yeah, if A... Okay, we don't have to do that. If A is string or null or empty, it doesn't make any difference here. So if A equals null, then we return B equals null. And then else if B equals null, we'd return false because we already know that A is not null. And then here we just return A to upper invariant does not equal B to upper invariant, because at this point we know that they're both not null, so we can do this test. Something like that. And then this would be is false. And then, or if this is false. So if either one are different, then we'll want to fire this event. Okay, so let's try that out. Okay, so AI script setting not implemented yet. Okay, that must have been something that I set up. Okay, so really all I have to do is just do slot. I could have done this already actually, but mod ID is input dot mod ID and slot AI script. Okay. That's all I have to do. And then, oh right, that I want to notify parameter change. Alright, so let's see. Actually go all the way through now. Okay, so no errors. I think I'll do it one more time and then watch these events and see what exactly is happening. So there's a bunch of events that fire. It's because it has to send over the network that this has changed. But we see on this frame, 149. Okay, so we get the input that the AI has changed here. And then the next frame, okay, it reacts to that input and then it immediately does the parameter change event, which also queues the send parameter command. So it's going to send over the network. And I think that's what most of this event, all these events are. And then it's the UI is reacting to that change. Is it actually? Okay, it does send it to the server here. And I guess we can also check in the lobby parameter to see if it's actually set, and it is. So again, if I put not set, and then that's just nulled out. So if I do this and then change it to not an AI, then it does clear that. Oh, right, because these aren't selected. I was going to say, how come here it has no mod selected, but that's just because these are loaded. I have to actually select them, and then they will appear in the list. Okay. So I think that's really all I have to do for the AI. That was relatively simple. I guess let me check the to-do list to see if I'm missing anything. Okay, so we're pretty much done with that, I think. Yeah, I think we're good. And nope, I think that's all I have to do. Of course, actually, the AI scripts don't really do anything right now because the system doesn't really support AI yet, but they're there for when we're ready. Or not, the game doesn't actually implement AI scripts yet, but alright, so next I guess we'll move on to maps, and for that I need to actually create the UI classes for that because I haven't set that up yet. So let's see. It'll actually be a lot like the mod, what I do for the mods. Let me, like right here we have, oh, I can't scroll because the game's not active, but we have a row here that basically just contains everything about a map, the title, version, and, well, or sorry, a mod. But the map will be a lot similar, except it won't really have a version or an error. I don't think that could happen. So it'll just basically have a title. Probably I'll still want an icon. And then of course you can select one. Oh yeah, so I won't need the status icon either. Okay. So I think, yeah, I keep trying to do the scroll bar. Let's okay, let's just duplicate this. And this will be maps. Okay, I think I'll hide these so I can actually see the maps that I'm working on. So for label, this will just be, I guess I'll call it map, and then yeah, no maps. Yeah, we'll probably be more descriptive there. Okay, and so I want to have a different prefab. So first, so I don't accidentally mess up everything else by applying this to the mod prefab, I'm going to break the prefab instance and then create a new prefab just by dragging it into here. And then I'll rename this to map item. And I'll rename this too, I guess. Just to make sure if I click the select button, it'll select the prefab and the assets. So it is the map item and not the mod item. So it's good to see. Okay, so I don't, yeah, I'm trying to think. Like there's no error that can happen to a map because in order for a map to be selectable, the mod that it's in would have to be selectable. So, well, let's see. I guess what could happen is the host would select some mods and maybe you can't actually use those mods because like there's incompatibilities, but then the map would still show up in this list. So maybe we'll just use this icon as kind of like saying if the parent map or the parent mod is good to go or not. I think that might be useful. So then we'll have this use toggle. I guess another question is, do I need to have something like this, or can I just have like a map drop down menu? You just pick one map. I guess so, but I'm wondering if I want to have like this more info button for a map. Well, let me see. Right now there's just the name and the display name and then script files. It doesn't actually have any more information. Of course, we could always add more stuff, but, and this is kind of just like a temporary UI, so I wonder like how in depth I want to be with it right now. Probably, I mean, the map is a pretty important choice. And you'd probably want to choose it. Yeah, you'd have to choose it in the lobby because the map would probably. Well, that is a good point. I was just thinking that would there ever want to be a reason why you wouldn't want to know the map before you choose a team, but I'm probably overthinking things. Okay, well, I've already got this far, so let's just keep with it, I think. So we'll have the name, and I guess there won't be a version or a status, really. But probably there should be like the containing mod. Okay, and then this more info will pop up. Another dialogue, a lot like the mod info dialogue that just has information about the map. Kind of, I don't know if they wanted to include a picture or something. I guess the question is, do I want to really do this all right now? Okay. Actually, yeah, now that I think about it, we could, I mean, this whole interface is kind of temporary, so, and if I need to add more, like more information to selecting maps, I can always do that later. For now, I think we'll just go with a simple drop down. So let me see. Okay, if that's the case, let's get rid of that. And I guess I'll just delete this map item. Okay, so let's add another game object here. And then I need to make this a rect transform. So it will actually interface with the rest of the that was a little confusing. It'll actually hook up with the rest of the UI system. And so yeah, all this is going to be taken care of. And then I guess I want to give it a horizontal layout group. Child control size. And then we'll have a text object inside here, which will just say maps. I don't know how you spell it. Yeah, that's better. Okay, so now we'll need a drop down, and I think I'm going to just copy the drop down from something else because it actually, the default drop down that comes with Unity is a little not really set up well. Let me see. So I had one part of this. Oops, I already brought it up here. Okay. Yeah, so I think I'll just get rid of these. Oh, so it has a width and a height. I actually want it to expand to fill the rest of the space. Let's leave that. Okay, I'm confused. I guess that's nothing new with this UI system, is it? Okay, so I guess I want to have force expand so this map will center it, or that text will center itself. I thought that, okay, let's actually see what this does. So it has a preferred width and height and no flexible width. So why is the dropdown has a flexible width? At least I think it does. Yeah, so I would have thought that it would expand to fill everything else. Okay, if I do that, I don't have to force expand height. Okay, I guess I do want some spacing actually. I don't know if I need padding. It doesn't have any. I wonder, like every time I think I understand the UI system, something like this comes up. I have flexible width enabled. Okay, well that kind of works. And then here, flexible width is disabled, so it should not be taking up half the space. Okay, so I thought child controls size means that the child controls this object size that I have in the other ones, and it's working fine. Okay. Okay, so this actually doesn't have a child force expand. Maybe that is the issue. Okay. Let me try this. So if I turn that off. Okay. Okay, so I think what happens when you click this is it kind of sets flexible width to true for all children. So, okay. I always forget that. Let's put, I don't know. This looks better to me. Okay, so now I need to add a hook to that map scroll bar. Where do I do that? I have this player UI registry. Oh, so I don't have one for like the whole system, so I guess I need to create a new one. Well, this is just one object, so I can use that UI registry I already created. That's just for like loose objects. What did I call it? game object hook. Okay. Yeah, so this class just is an easy way to get a name on a specific game object, or get a handle on a specific game object for anything that's like not a mono behavior. So I guess I'll just call this the map drop down. Probably should do something like that. Okay, so now let's create do we want to put the map in the mods namespace? I mean, maps are kind of related to it, but I think it's a separate thing. And probably in the final UI, the whole map choice thing will be a lot more in depth, but I just kind of want to get something working out there so we can maybe move on from the lobby. Because we have been working on it for a while, but I knew it was going to be a pretty big project, and it's something I've needed to do. But yeah, I'd like to do the team building phase pretty soon, because then we could actually play the game how it's meant to be played all the way through. Okay, so again, these classes are just kind of helper classes. Yeah, this parent class just lets us use the event system that I'm using for the rest of the game, and then this IUI setup interface basically just lets this class know when Unity has finished loading the interface, because it's not guaranteed that when this class's constructor is called that Unity's interface will be ready to go, so you have to have a separate method for that. So what am I trying to do here? I need the game object registry. And then I guess I'll need, in order to get a list of all the mods, I'll need to get, or all the maps, I'll need to get the loaded mod registry. And also the lobby parameters. Okay, so this is what I'll need for sure. Okay, and unfortunately, Visual Studio is not smart enough to include this events in the constructor, even though I have to pass it up to my parent. Oops, that was silly. Okay, and so at this point, this has been set up. So isn't there a helper function? Oh yeah, so find, I can get map drop down. Okay, so I guess I want to store a reference to that. Okay, and then I want to refresh it, which will just rebuild the entries in that drop down. Also, want to refresh it on certain events. So mod, what is it? Loaded mod change, I think. Oh, except that's the event type, not the listener. So event exists listener. So this listener will fire our event or our function whenever this event exists in the queue. So whenever there's a loaded mod change event in the queue, then it will call refresh. Okay, let's clean this up a bit. I think I don't have any drop downs in the mods, but in the player I have the AI script drop down manager, which is actually going to be quite a bit like this. So yeah, so for one, we need to have the structure to kind of keep track of all the options, as we'll want to sort them and everything. So again, we'll have the mod name and then the map name instead of script name. And then we'll have private list option meta, and then private list string option display. And so this list will be what's actually visible in the dropdown, and then this metadata will be what's actually like this behind the scenes data for each option. Okay, and so we see here that first it clears option and then tries to add any option, and then for the drop down it finds a specific index in the drop down for the option that's chosen. Okay, and then is interactable. Well, this will always be true. Okay, and then here it also checks to see if a new row has been created, because then we'd have to add a listener, but that's actually a lot simpler here. So let me see. We can actually just subscribe to the listener right here. So on value changed, add listener. But we won't actually worry about this just yet. I think this is the chosen index. Okay, so first of all, yeah, we need to rebuild these lists. Yeah, so I have this function that did it here. I think I'll probably just steal this and use it as a base. Okay, well, I could have made this easier by using the same names, but and then I want to change this to map name just so it actually makes sense. Okay, so what this does here is it goes through every mod and then finds every AI script in the mod. So instead of that, I'll want to go through every map. Okay, mod and map look too similar, so I'm afraid that that's going to just confuse me, but... And then, okay, I go through the lobby parameter and see what's already been chosen. Well, for the lobby parameter, it just has one thing for the map, so I don't have to do a loop anymore. Okay, so if string is null or empty, I guess I could just do this part. Come on. Okay, no slot anymore, so it's the mod or the map containing mod ID. It's well, that makes sense, I guess. I don't really use the term blueprint anymore, so I'll just call it the map name. All fits on one line now. That's nice. Okay, and then I would just add an option for this. Okay, so first it actually checks to make sure if the option has already been included. That's a good idea because we don't want to have duplicates. Okay, the slot to the drop-down index doesn't exist yet, but I'll go ahead and grab this as well. Okay, so actually I don't have to pass anything to it anymore because there's no such thing as a slot when it comes to the map. So yeah, I can actually just rename this to get drop-down index. Let's see. No, that's fine. Because it's getting the drop-down index from the lobby parameters, so okay. Let's do something like that so it's a little bit more clear. Okay, and then if the index is... I was about to say less than 0, but then I noticed it's less than or equal. Oh, because the first one is always this not set. Okay, so that's fine. Although I'll probably want to sort this list now that I think about it. But I guess I could just have it so not set is always on top. Yeah, I guess we'll do it like that. Anyway, okay, so just need to use these strings instead of these strings. I think these are already guaranteed to be upper invariant, but so yeah, this could happen, I guess, if you've chosen a map and then you click reload mods and you deleted that mod or something. So then it would say, we don't really want to just wipe the selection. So we just tell the player that, hey, your mod that had the map you wanted to play is gone, so. Yeah, so nothing there. Okay, I do want to sort the options, I think. Although it's going to be a bit awkward because I'm going to have to... Because it's important that the display and the meta indexes match up. Okay, well, let's not worry about sorting for now because, like I said, this is just a temporary UI. Okay, so here, don't have to do that anymore. So yeah, this is just checking to see if there was... Okay, this should be if either is null. Oh wait, no. It was right before. So we want to check to make sure that both of these are not null. Yeah, I was reading it wrong. And the same thing here. So if they're both not null, then we'll actually try to find the map. Otherwise, we just return 0 because we want to change it to not set. Okay, so I just changed this to option meta. And then it actually just looks through to make sure that these match what's in the option meta. So grab this again and okay, it's kind of bad of me not to do a new line there. Okay, so then, yeah, so if what's in the lobby parameters match what's here, or what's in the option meta for this specific option, then we know that we want it to display at this index. So there we go. Okay, so on refresh, I guess, yeah, we call make drop down options and then drop down clear options. drop down, add options, display, and then drop down. Okay, I forget what the way to set the index value. Okay, so drop down dot value equals get lobby parameter drop down index. And I think that's all I have to do. Since we just have one drop down, it's a lot easier because I don't have to go through this for loop. Oh, although I do need to check if the registry has been loaded or not. Except here it would be something like if drop down does not equal null. Because this could be called before the UI has been loaded, at which point we don't actually want to do this. Okay, so the only other thing I have to do is check to make sure that we handle actually choosing something, which is kind of the most important part. Okay, so I need this. I think I'll just copy this whole. Yeah, this class had a lot in common, now that I think about it. So do I have something for maps? I don't think I do yet. Okay, so class map select input. So we'll have the string for the mod unique ID and a string for the map ID, or I guess map name. Yeah, let's do an override toString for it. This way, whenever this event is fired, we'll automatically get it documented in the debug log, so that will help with debugging. Okay, yep. Oh, last time I accidentally left everything muted after I got a drink, but I remembered this time to unmute it. Okay, so let me see. We don't have this slot index anymore, so I don't really need that. Okay, and then it says, well, do I really have to do it like this? Because really, this meta, the 0 is set to null anyway. So I don't really need this if statement. Okay, so our meta equals drop down options. Oh yeah, it's different in this one. So options meta. I guess I could make sure that this is in bounds, but that would be more of a Unity problem because somehow when I added the options, they'd have to get out of sync. Yeah, so I'm not going to worry about that for now, especially since, as I keep saying, this is just temporary UI. Oh yeah, so mod, what is it? Map select input. So yeah, I don't need all that. We don't need the slot. Okay, and then this is just going to make sure that something has actually changed, but between what's actually in the lobby parameters. So map name and then map name. Okay, and then again, if either of these are different, then we'll queue this event. Okay, so that was relatively painless. Did I even load the mods? Or use them? Oh, I did right here. Okay. So now I just need to add this map drop-down manager to the games, or have it be loaded by the game. I go in the lobby controller, just initialize it here. So when I add it to the scene helper, that's what sets up that UI loaded callback, and then initialize just calls the constructor and automatically passes all these classes that it needs. So map, and then map dropdown manager, and that's all that has right now. So I think that's all I have to do. Actually, nothing responds to the input yet, so we might as well do that while we're here. Did I? Okay, I did have this mod input manager. Oops, what happened there? So I guess I'll be good and have just another map input manager since I'm kind of treating the maps as being separate. Let's create another class for this. Oops. There we go. And I think all this will need is the lobby parameters. And all this is really going to do is just store everything that's input into the lobby parameters. It doesn't really do any like validation to make sure that the input makes sense because how should I explain it? It's kind of like you really want the state to match up with what's in the UI. Both for me as the programmer's sanity, and also it just makes it more intuitive to the player. So later on, what will happen is the game just won't actually let you press I'm ready to play button if for some reason something here doesn't make any sense. So yeah, this class is actually going to be pretty simple. Oh, what is it? I also do need to know if we're in the input state. I'm trying to remember what the class is. Oh, flow state. Okay. Because if we're not in the input state, and for some reason we get this input event, then that would mean that something is pretty wrong. And we don't really want to change anything in the lobby parameters, because the rest of the game would think that everything is set. So new, okay, we actually need to do all events listener this time. And this is for the map input. And this will just be on map select. Okay, and now, yeah, since I added this flow state after I generated the constructor, I'll have to type this manually. Okay, let's call that I. So yeah, if the state.phase is input, then we'll actually process this event. And I'm pretty sure all I need to do is just set what is passed here. Don't really have to do anything else. I'm just going to make sure. Yeah, so what this is doing is just making sure that there's an actual change. It's actually, yeah, true, because every time, if there's no change, then every time we call this, it triggers like a resending to the network, so you want to minimize that. But I guess I don't know how lazy I want to be. Again, the problem is if this is null, then we have to do that null string comparing. I should put that into a helper class, shouldn't I? Let me see here. Just trying to decide where I want to put it. Well, let's just put it in the game logic. If I have to use it in the server, eventually, maybe it'll actually just be our first global script. That's not technically not true because we have a bunch in here, but okay, so this will just be, I'll just call it the null string helper. Okay, so this will be a static class, public. And I'll just grab. So, okay. Let's say equal, ignore case. Then I guess we can have equal. Or we don't ignore the case. Although technically that's... Well, no, because you want to do like string is null or empty. Because I was going to say technically that would just be this, but we kind of want to treat an empty string as null. That's kind of the point of that. Okay, so anyway, so both of these that have this nullable string, let's just change it to null string helper equal ignore case. And there's probably some other places where I use that as well, but that will just be, in general, a good method, I think. So if they're not equal, either one is not equal. Then we'll set it and also... Oops, I didn't mean to do that. We'd want to just fire the parameters change event and also a send parameter event. So I guess I'll copy this method again. Now I'm beginning to think that maybe these events should have just been one and the same. Although since I queued this immediately, they're kind of different because this... Yeah, I guess we'll just leave it how it is. Okay, so since I do that, I need to make sure that these input managers all are in the same phase, which they are. You know, I'll be in this input phase, so that should be fine. Because again, since I queue immediate, anything that comes before will not be able to see that event, which is pretty important to keep in mind. But I think the only thing that really uses it is UI classes, which are all in this priority, so it works out. All right. I think we've got everything hooked up, so let's actually try it now. I guess I'll start from the title. It just is easier that way. Oh, except I left these dialogues as null, so if I actually try to go into it, it's going to give me a null reference exception because they weren't able to initialize. Okay. At least I caught it before I played this time. All right, so then we see the map down here, and okay, so it does have this test map. Do I want to have probably? Let me see here. Okay, so that works fine, but the thing is that this test content mod is not actually selected yet, so I'm trying to decide if I want this drop-down menu to have maps from every single mod or only from maps that or mods that we select to load. Yeah, so if I did that. I mean, I guess it kind of makes sense. Well, the thing is that in the AI, you can have AI that's from a mod you don't actually load. And what would happen is the game would just say you're not loading a mod that you've wanted to use an AI from, so we can't actually start the game yet. I guess I'll just leave it like this for now. Because like I said, this map UI is probably going to need a lot of work later, so we can come back to it and make it a little smarter. Alright, so I guess that's good for now. So I'm going to need to do a lot of work, but let me see. Can't really add much about the interface in here. Did do that though. I guess in the future, do we even need to write this? It's kind of obvious. I'll just do that, and sometime we'll come back, and I don't feel like I have to document everything in this because it's kind of obvious what needs to be done. With art and more features. Also sound, but okay, so are we done? Okay, I guess we can start on the network. Okay, so this... It's going to be a kind of big project. I thought that this map would take longer, so I haven't like really prepared fully for this. So really, we're going to need to send information about the mods over the network. But okay, so in my other game, which was kind of like a prototype for this, we had a mod for like a chess type board game, or a system for like a chess map board game. And you could also have mods there, or actually it was just one mod, and you did send over a list of your mods to every player. Well, actually there was only one other player. The thing is that this game has a lot more mods and they have a lot more information, so I'm not really sure if I want to be sending that over the network all the time. So I'm kind of thinking of a way that we can only send what's actually needed. I guess the easiest way would be for our client to actually just request information, but let's see what actually needs to be sent over the network. Because we should probably just send over bare bones information about all mods. But maybe if somebody clicked the more information on a mod that I don't have, we could request more. And we'd also have to, so that would be fine. Let me see. So for example, if you didn't have this mod, we'd want to send basically everything here over the network at all times and keep it up to date. But anything that's only the more info would probably only need to be pulled up if you click this button. So that would be, for example, the author, this image, the description, this download link. So, okay, so here it just includes the icon, the name, and the version. Okay, I think I can, that's probably the best way to do it. Because, yeah, that, especially the version needs to be kept up to date at all times because at least the host needs to know what kind of version every other player has. Okay, so let me see here. Go to the lobby. Network mod registry. So we kind of want to maybe separate this, or at least have like a state of what information we know. We'll have the display name, the version, numeric. Okay, so this is the stuff that should be sent and kept up to date, and this is the stuff that should be only sent as needed. But what about this? And the map data and the script data. Well, you kind of do need it, actually. Let's just more strings. I mean, strings is not really going to be that network intensive. It's mostly these images, so I don't even include that. Okay, so then we'll also want to have, I don't know, a loaded state. Okay, so I guess this should... Maybe we should just include, like, have a separate class for that stuff, I think. Okay, so network mod extra data. Okay, well, actually the icon will be passed at all times, so let's not call it, let's actually just call it the description data because this is in the description or the more info page. I don't know. I don't know. This is fine. Oh, I don't create this list. Did I do that in the other one? Okay, I do. Although I guess these will actually be arrays in the network because yeah, these will be passed as arrays. I think we'll have a list for clients. Yeah, so no reason to have a list there. I'm not sure how would we transfer this image over the network. There's probably some way to do it, but we need to make sure that the sprite is like not too big, obviously. Yeah, we'll see about that. Okay, so this mod data will just need to be transferred every time we load our mods. So I guess the mod loader could go ahead and generate a message to send. Or does it really? Probably a different class would be better to do that. Okay. So it loaded mod data change. Is this ever fired anywhere else? Oh, whenever... Okay, this is a little awkward. So it's also fired whenever the image is loaded. Okay, maybe the sprite should be sent separately, I think. Especially since it's loaded afterwards. So we really just need it for that list icon. And it's not really needed. Like, it's just kind of extra prettiness. Okay, well, that's fine. We can just leave it like that. So I guess this will be sent over, and then we'll have a separate thing for icons for the sprite and then the extra data. I guess, now that I think about it, I don't know. I mean, this information is not really going to take up that much more room on the network, so could send it right away and then just have something, another class that sends these sprites. Okay. Well, okay, we know we're gonna need to send this stuff, so I guess I'll just work on that now, and I can always add this into it later, and then we'll deal with... And then we kind of know that the sprites are gonna be a separate request, so if I need to, I can just have this extra data also be a separate request, or it can be included, so I really don't need to decide on that right now. But I guess okay. The thing is, whenever this data change is fired, I didn't know if I should use this method or use this event to know when to send things over the network. Probably I should just have a separate one. But let's actually just make the class that actually does the sending. So okay, so I guess mod data message sender. Okay, so when we send this to the server, the server would then send it to all other clients. Yeah, so that's fine. Yeah, the server can take care of that. Let me see. It's been a while since I've done the netcode or done anything having to do with netcode, so I think I'll see how I did it with another class. Probably end of turn. Oh yeah, so I just have this sender. Okay, so this one was a ready check, and then this one actually sent the info message. So we won't have to do a ready check for this. Okay. I just need that send helper. Also, I think, okay, the send helper, I don't know if I need that because it will like keep resending the message. But I don't think there's really that we actually want to do that. So I might not even use this at all. I might just kind of send stuff on my own, which I think is fine. The only thing I have to be careful of is make sure that I'm still connected to the server when I try to send the message. Okay, so yeah, I think we'll do that. Okay, so this will just need the phase or flow state. I don't know if it actually needs it. No, because it would just get the event to send this and then just do it. So it doesn't actually care about what state. But it does need the loaded mod registry because it will just read data from here to send mods. And I think I'll rename this to the basic basic data message sender. Okay. Okay, and then on some event it'll actually do its work. So I guess let's just do the event to actually get the message. Okay, so we'll need to create the message class, which since it's needs to be referenced from both the game logic and the server, I need to put it in this separate networking namespace. Okay, so let's change it. Let's name this to I guess mod basic. I don't know. It's like your mod list. Okay, that's fine. And any message you want to send over the server or over the network using Unity's system needs to inherit from this message base class. It doesn't actually have to implement anything in particular, but I think that's what handles the serialization. Okay, and kind of want to keep it separate from this in case there's anything important. Okay, so let's see. I guess we'll need to have a string. So from username. Actually, we won't. This will be like. Okay, yeah, we'll have another message that the server actually sends. This basic update message. Yeah, and then the server will send it out to every other client, and we'll have like a separate notify message that will, and the server will insert the username there. That way it can't be duped or anything. Alright, so let me see. Just all this stuff. I'll just copy the whole thing and delete what I don't need. I can't do that because it's in that namespace, so I don't really want to reference it here. I guess I'll just do a string. And we won't pass any sprites here. And then I guess mod. Okay, well, we won't worry about the extra data right now. Okay, so mod AI script basic data, and then mod map basic data. Now, some kind of strange things about this message base is that it can't serialize a list, so you've got to do arrays. And there's also a weird thing I found out, that it can't serialize an array of enumerations, but you don't have any of that here. And any class you want it to serialize, you have to be sure to tag it as serializable, so that's why I've done that there. But it's basically does everything else, so can't complain too much. Okay. So we want to send the mod list basic message. Oh, not what I wanted to do. Did I spell this wrong? Oh, I renamed it. Okay, well, we'll just leave it like that. And then we'll return message. Okay, so message dot mods equals new. And we know how many mods we have loaded, so. Okay, so for int I equals 0, I less than message mods length. And then just kind of create a new one and pass everything through. Okay, so we've got the unique ID. Most of it's just gonna be kind of redundant looking, but I don't wanna, I wanna make sure that we have separate classes here, so we can always like have an interface from the game to the network system, and they won't be so tightly coupled. We don't have to worry too much if one of them has to change. It'll be relatively easy to keep them compatible. And then a display version. What else am I missing? Oh, the type. Okay, we can't do that. Here we'll have to do a switch statement. So switch mod. No, that's not what I wanted to do. Okay, so since I don't do everything in the constructor, I really should store it here. So I guess we'll just do that for the network mod, and then I'll rename this to the G mod in terms of the game mod. So network mod type equals. Oh, come on. Using a string is probably a bad idea, isn't it? Let's just make another enumeration here. So public enum mod type. I guess that's fine. So unknown framework, content. What's it complaining about? Inconsistent. Oh yeah, so I need to tag all these as public. Oh, that was the only one that was missing. Okay, so now it's going to complain that it doesn't know if this... Oh, okay, no it doesn't actually. So networking, mod type. Oh. I think I have to drill down that far. That's the wrong one. Framework. And then anything else will just put unknown in there. Actually, that's a good point. We don't really want to send over things that have a load error. So yeah, before... Oh, that's kind of annoying. That means that we don't know the number that we'll send because there could be things that have been loaded that have a load error, so there's no reason to even send it over the network. Okay, let's see. So int... Well, we could just use a temporary list. That's probably better. The list mod basic data. Okay, so temp mod list. I'll go ahead and initialize that here. And I'll want to make sure I clear it here. Okay, so yeah, no, we can't do that like that. We would just do mod, or wait, message mods equals temp mod list to array. Okay, so we would still get the game mod here, but if, oops, oh, I accidentally deleted the curly brace. So, if the game mod type is content or framework, then we'd actually want to add this. Gosh, I can't type curly braces. So really we don't need this default, but I'll just leave it. So now we've got to build the maps and AI. Now we don't have to do a temp mod list or a temp list for that. Okay, I should add it right here. Okay, so nmod dot AI scripts equals new count, and for each for I guess we could do a for each. Well, no, because we need to know the index. So int s equals 0, s less than nmod AI scripts length. Okay, so mod AI scripts s equals new, and this is pretty simple. It's just the name and then the display name. Oh, except okay, we'll just make this a little easier. Okay, and then I can basically do the same thing for maps, so might as well just copy and paste, save myself a little typing. Although I do have to be extra careful not to forget to change any of this. Okay, so maps, new map data, so maps length. We get the map there. Okay, so I think that's all fine. Okay, so now whenever we get the event to send the message, we would just, I think I can just do Unity link client send message. Okay, I need to set this key, so it'd be mod, let's do lobby mod list basic update. I'll just copy this and add it there. And then we just call get message, and I think that's as simple as I need to be. Okay, so what would happen if for some reason this message was not sent? I guess the worst that would happen is the games would find out that the mods are out of sync during loading if somehow the lobby thought everything was synchronized but it wasn't actually. And if that happened, then they would probably get an error and then go back into the lobby and then everything would reload, so it'd be fine. So yeah, I don't really need to do... Well, probably what I should do is just send a command to get all this data right before we actually load the game to try and prevent that from happening, but yeah, so should be fine like this. I was just thinking, do I need to try and send this multiple times to make sure it gets through? I would say no, because then we'd have to like wait for responses for from everybody to know when we can stop sending it, and that's just a little... I think would be way too complicated, so. Exists listener, so let's just make a new command here. I was looking to see if I have... Okay, I do have this events. Okay, and then I guess we'll just have send mod basic data command. Okay, and when it gets this, it will just call the send message. Okay, so this should be called whenever the mod loader is done loading. But only when... Yeah, only here, like not when the... We don't need to wait for the icons to finish, so... But after this function call is called, then we basically know all the basic data about all mods, so that will be fine. So we'll just queue this. Mod basic data message. Oh, that was it wrong. So yeah, that is the event we want to send. And then in the lobby, I need to initialize this new class. Mod basic data message sender, and this is be, excuse me, this can just be in the normal priority because it doesn't actually send any messages, so it should be fine. Okay, so what's going to happen now is we'll send that message over the network. Oop. Okay, there's something wrong first. Oh, right. Okay, this was for the dialogue, but a lot of this stuff doesn't exist anymore, so this would go in extra. Okay, this will probably cause problems. this is a little silly, but yeah, we'll come back and clean this up later. Just want to get rid of the errors for now. I guess I should write myself a note. So update for new mod extra data. What'll happen is we'll open the dialog and it'll have like some loading message, and then once it actually receives the data from the network, then it will update itself. Okay, so yeah, object reference. So that's not what I expected. Oh, yeah, it's because I actually don't need this for loop. I can just do a for each. So for every game mod and mods loaded, because we just add stuff to this temp list instead of creating the array right away. Okay, so let's try this one more time. All right, come on. Still an error. Get rid of that. Okay, so this is what I was actually expecting. What this means is that the server doesn't have any way to handle that message that I just sent, which was yeah, this one. And it's because the server doesn't have a handler registered to the C lobby mod list basic update. So we might as well go add that now. Okay, so let's see. Let's just put mod list at the beginning of all these classes. So basic data receiver. Okay, let's clean that up. And this is like receives it. Yeah, basically we really just have to do the server register handler for that. Okay, let's just do that. Am I still live? I noticed the music has stopped. Oh no, it's just really quiet. Okay. Okay, I should change this to message reader. It's a little safer way to do it. So this is mod list basic update message. Okay, I actually need to change this because there's the update message and then... Oh, well, no. Never mind. Sorry. Because I was thinking that the server would also receive the basic, like, notify messages, but the server is actually just the one that sends those out. Yeah. Okay, so if update message, and what's it complaining about? There is no argument. Oh yeah, I have to pass the net message to it. Okay, so this is just making sure that it's valid. So if update message is not null and the mods does not equal null and mods length is greater. Well, that's not true actually, because we want to know if they have no mods. So really it's just if the message is not null. And this will send this back on I should update this key. I know I'll forget to do that. Let's actually just rename this, take out the lobby because it's just making the name long. We don't really have a mod list any other time except in the lobby, so. Okay, so basic notify. Okay, and we won't want to send this message, we'll want to generate a new message. But really, I just need to know the username for this player. Is the username stored in the connection? I forget. I think it is. Yeah, right here. Or here, if I can click. So let's go back to this mod list basic message and just make another version of this. Instead of an update, it will be a notify message, and this will just include the username. Okay, so mod list notify message equals new from username equals, oh, I don't store the connection. I guess since I do it like that, I might as well. And then the mods will just pass them as is. And then we send this to all clients. We really don't have to send it back to the specific client, but well, is there even any reason? I was gonna say it's so that this client could try to see if the server is kind of like lying to it by sending out mods that never actually said it had. But the server could just be, if it really wanted to be dedicated to cheating, it could just not send you any messages or send something different back to you. So yeah, there's really no reason for you to get back your own message. So let's make a helper function because I think I'll need this. Send to all except user. So if the connection is trusted and the connection dot username does not equal username, then we'll send that message. I guess I should use the username comparer. Yeah, so this should be false. Could just pass the connection ID, but okay, so that's fine. So actually, okay, we might want to change that for testing to have it send it back to us because, well, I don't know. Because now what's going to happen is the server will just receive the message but not actually send it to anyone. Because we actually don't have any other player in here, but that's okay. Oh, it's still, oh, because the server doesn't initialize this. Oh, I just realized I should do a check or a little thing in here. When a new player enters the lobby, resend Oh, well, we don't have to resend the lobby parameters because the server will provide that to them. But we do need to resend mod lists. Maybe the... Oh no, I don't... I was gonna say maybe the server should just cache these messages itself, but... I don't know, I don't think so. Let's see. What was I doing? Oh yeah, I needed to initialize this class and the server. So I just have to call initialize, and I'm pretty sure it could just be normal because it doesn't really listen to any events. Actually, one thing the server should check for is like it shouldn't send this event out to anyone if we're in a weird, if we're not in the lobby phase. Is that true? No, actually, because like if the game is in the play phase and somebody's trying to rejoin, maybe they'd need to get this data. Or that couldn't... Oh wait, what would happen? Okay, let's just not try... I'm not gonna try to get ahead of myself. Although... Oh, I do already do that, but this is the wrong phase, so I'm kind of glad I came back in. So right now we'll just do this for lobby. The whole rejoining thing is kind of... I probably should figure it out soon. Probably I'll do it after we get the team building done. Because once we have the complete flow, it'll be easier to deal with. I should really add that to this roadmap. Let's see where. I think I'll just create a whole new thing. From a disconnected or crashed game. I've always tried to plan for this, but it's just difficult to do until I'm actually able to test it. But I think right now, if somebody crashes, everyone might just exit back to the lobby. That's the easiest way to keep things synchronized. So, yeah, I'm not going to worry about it too much. And since it's a turn-based game, that shouldn't really be much of an issue. Okay, well, let's see. Did the server receive... Okay, well, we sent this mod list basic update, and the server didn't complain about it, so obviously it handled it, but it didn't send anything back because it knows not to send it back to me, and there's nobody else connected. We could try it with a second player, but all it's going to do is just give an error because the client doesn't react to or doesn't handle the message to receive these notifications. So let's, I think we'll need to wrap up. I'll go ahead and write some notes here. We need to handle receiving notifications, or I guess basic data notifications, and then handle images and also handle extra data, which I might just end up sending in the basic data, but images are something we'll have to do separately. I'm not even... There's got to be some way you can send it over. You could just decompose it into the bytes, but that might be how we'll have to do it. But anyway, I think this is a pretty good stopping point, and technically we have a couple more minutes, but I'll go ahead and call it. It is a weird day, or different stream day anyway, but yeah, so thanks everybody for coming out and watching. I really appreciate it. I hope you all have a great Labor Day weekend if you're in the US, or just a great weekend otherwise. Actually, I think this is the same Labor Day in Canada. I don't know, but anyway, I hope you have a great weekend. I'll be back Tuesday, and hopefully my schedule will be a bit more relaxed then, so maybe I'll get to stream for more than just a couple hours like I've been wanting to. Um, we'll see, that's the hope. But yeah, I'll go ahead and feel free to follow me here if you'd like to get notified when I go live on Tuesday. It's usually around noon Eastern, but maybe earlier. I also have a Twitter where I always post when I go live, so feel free to follow me there. And then I have a YouTube channel where I post all old streams if you'd like to catch up or just see how the game used to look. And finally, I have a Discord server. I'll try to be on it over the weekend, so if you'd like to chat with me, I'd love to have you there. But I'll put links in chat, or you can check out the video description if you're watching from YouTube. And I think that's about it. So hopefully Tuesday we'll come back, finish up this mod networking, and then we'll really just have a couple more incompatibilities and some odds and ends, and then we'll finally be able... Oh, I do have to chat. Okay, well, that's a kind of big thing. Yeah, so we still have quite a bit to do in the lobby, but hopefully just a week or two more. But yeah, have a great weekend, and hope to see you soon. Bye-bye.